9 News Plus weather, sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, happy Monday. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. We're tracking what looks to be a pretty significant winter storm that'll be moving its way into parts of Colorado later on tonight. But for us in Denver and along the Front Range, it'll be tomorrow night, including perhaps tomorrow evening's commute, that could be most impacted by this upcoming winter storm. We'll break it all down for you. Got plenty of time here to explain what we're looking at. But the top line takeaways, I think, is that tomorrow evening, Tuesday evening's commute, as well as Wednesday mornings, and especially Wednesday mornings, is going to be pretty nasty. A widespread 5 to 10 inches of snowfall. I think we could be in the territory here of school closures. Kids, do your homework. But I think we are talking about enough snow and as well long-lived enough snowfall that we could be looking at school closures and pretty major impacts from this upcoming winter weather event. Now, for the moment, enjoy it. We got the sunshine out. We're going to be talking about temperatures near 50 degrees for us today. So any sort of preparations you want to make, if you're kind of hunkering down for maybe the 24 hours of this snow event, now's the time to make those, because we will be looking at today being our last really calm day. Tomorrow during the day should be okay. It's tomorrow night when we see that snow move its way on in. Winter storm watch up for much of northeastern Colorado. This will be upgraded most likely to a winter storm warning later on today, but widespread 5 to 10 inches worth of snowfall. There will be some localized amounts more than this, and there will also be some localized amounts less than 5 inches within this watch zone. Remember, when we're talking about a snowfall forecast, we're determining probabilities. I'm telling you the most likely scenario, or the most probable scenario, is that we're going to end up with 5 to 10 inches of snow. I'm not saying definitively we're going to say 5 to 10 inches of snow, but if that makes sense, is that what we're looking at here is a probabilistic forecast. And again, that goes to say that, again, we've got a good chance the majority of the area will see 5 to 10 inches worth of snowfall, but there will be amounts more and less than what we just mentioned a second ago. So today's the calm before the storm. Winter storm watch in effect for tomorrow night, and major snow impacts on Wednesday, especially during the morning. If you have a flight on Wednesday, I would move that. To either tomorrow, most of the day tomorrow, even tomorrow night. Should be getting flights in and out relatively okay. It's not until overnight Tuesday into Wednesday morning where we're going to be talking about some big impacts, especially Wednesday morning. We're going to have some big impacts out there at DIA. Now, it's of course not just the Front Range that's getting that snowfall. Also out here into the mountains, widespread 6 to 12 inches of snow for the high country. You get into the San Juans and the Sangre de Cristos, that's where we're looking at totals closer to 2 feet worth of snowfall. Widespread 1 to 2 feet of snow for us into the high country of southwestern Colorado. This is going to be a boom storm for our friends in the southwestern slopes. So Wolf Creek, Purgatory, Telluride, Lovin', I would imagine this upcoming snowfall forecast. Even Crescent Butte should do pretty well out of this as well. HD Doppler pretty quiet right now. The main bulk of the action is off to our southwest, not too far away. Head out to Flagstaff and the Arizona Snow Bowl, the Grand Canyon. That's where the snow's flying right now. And also the Sierra Nevada getting pounded once again. Feet of snow on top of the feet of snow they've seen so far this month for us into the high country of California. All that snow will move its way on in later on today and tonight. I think the worst of the snow for us in the high country and into the San Juans, it'll start up after dark tonight. So again, for now, probably relatively calm. Still some light snow in western Colorado. That snow intensifies tonight after dark, and then it'll spread its way in through the mountains as we head through the overnight time frame. By tomorrow morning, it's snowing across most of the higher terrain here across Colorado, but with that snow mostly concentrated from I-70 on south. All right, let's kind of recap everything here. For today in Denver, near 50 degrees. It's a nice day. Get outside, get that jogging, get that run in today, because come tomorrow, well, things start to go downhill, especially after dark tomorrow, as mentioned, but today's the last really kind of nice end-to-end day, and also our last day this warm for quite some time. We're going to enter into a kind of prolonged cold and snowy stretch here. So today's the last day to kind of enjoy some of this nicer weather. This is a little bit above average. Our average high for today is 45. We'll be in the 40s and 50s across the eastern plains, into the mountains 30s, and a few 20s for us in southwestern Colorado for those high temperatures. Tonight we drop down into the mid 20s, and it's mild, it's calm, light winds. By the way, today our first 5 p.m. or later sunset of the year. For tomorrow, we are looking at those temperatures that really drop on down. Upper 30s for a high temperature, mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. Any peaks of sunshine would be during the morning, and that snow starts up after dark tomorrow. So again, tomorrow morning's commute should be okay. Bump up that commute time for tomorrow, as we will be looking at things turning pretty nasty once we get after dark. So here's a look at that forecast. Once we get to about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow, that's when that snow probably starts to develop for us in Denver along the Front Range. It may take a little time to stick, but again, for tomorrow, I think we are going to be talking about some impacts to that evening commute, so plan around that. And then the worst of the snow will probably be overnight tomorrow and to early on Wednesday morning. So that snow will be intense at times for us. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be snowing heavily. Then by about midday or so on Wednesday, the snow starts to lighten on up, and it'll be done by about 4 or 5 o'clock or so on your Wednesday afternoon, not before leaving behind several inches of snow across the metro area. So closer look in here. This is another thing I kind of want to emphasize, is that what we're going to be looking at, you know how I was mentioning the probabilistic snowfall forecasting. I know that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. What I mean to say here, folks, is that this kind of storm is going to produce a narrow band of very heavy snowfall. That means that not everybody is going to get in on those higher snowfall totals. Not everybody's going to see 9, 10, 11 inches of snowfall. If you fall outside of this narrow band of heavy snowfall, you're probably only ending up with 4 or 5 inches worth of snowfall. That's still, of course, a lot. It is a significant storm, but we could see, for example, DIA or Bennett or Strasburg or Fort Morgan get a foot of snow, while downtown on West gets, quote unquote, only 5, 6 inches of snow. That kind of setup because of these narrow bands of heavy snowfall. We call it a deformation zone. That is mumbo jumbo for a convergence band on the northwest side of an area of low pressure. And what that tends to mean, again, these narrow bands of really intense snowfall. And where you get that snow, where you get that band, you're going to get some really intense totals. Where you don't, it won't be nearly as intense. But here's a look at what I think will end up being the overall right totals. We'll be ending up with those snowfall amounts in the a widespread 6 to 12 inches for us across the Northeast Plains. A few spots will end up with a little less than what you're looking at here, and a few spots may end up with, again, you see that Ray 13.2 inch mark. That could easily happen at the airport in Fort Morgan, but more likely you'll end up with 8, 9 inches of snow at the airport and in Fort Morgan. Downtown Denver on West, a little bit less than that. Closer look in here at the metro again. Notice Bennett, 11 inches. Denver, 6. I mean, that's only a 25-mile difference, but we're talking about basically half the snowfall amount in Denver compared to Bennett, and that is due to these localized bands. Castle Rock, 8, 9 inches. Again, it's a widespread 6 to 12 inches worth of snowfall for us across most of the metro area. A few spots in this, Longmont 5.5. Again, you fall outside that zone, and that's where you're looking at those slightly lower snowfall totals overall. So, 7-day forecast. If you like big brown snow piles, you're going to love this snowfall forecast because we are not melting this anytime soon. This snow is going to stick around for a while. It is going to be on the chilly side. We've got another round of snow coming up on Friday. It doesn't look nearly as intense as this one. And then another round of snow Sunday night and Monday. And folks, this is unusual. This is a March-like pattern. If you've been in Denver for a long time, you know that January tends not to be a particularly snowy month for us. In fact, it is our 6th snowiest month of the year on average. March, April, February, November, December all get more snow on average than January. Normally the jet stream is a lot further north. It's not a particularly, again, snowy time of the year for us. If we get 7 inches or more of snow from the snowstorm, this would be our biggest January snowstorm since 1992. So again, you see those snowiest Januaries on record in Denver. You know what? If this forecast shakes out even on the higher end of things, we're going to end up with those snowfall totals that'll be perhaps rivaling those top 5 snowiest Januaries on record. And that said, here's something to look forward to. We have our first 5 p.m. or later sunset of the year tonight, and we will not have a 5 p.m. or later sunset until November the 5th. So there's the good news thing. Well, depends on if you like the snow. You love me right now. If you don't love the snow, 5 p.m. or later sunset tonight, first one of the season. Let's go back to the snow forecast here for a quick second, because top line takeaways, 5 to 10 inches of snow, most likely for most of the metro area, starting tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, somewhere between about 4 and 6 p.m. And then the heaviest of the snow overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday morning. It's going to snow most of the day on Wednesday with the highest impacts during the morning. If you have a flight in or out of DIA, I would expect big issues on Wednesday morning in particular. I think by the afternoon it should be better, but there'll probably be residual delays from all the stuff that happens in the morning. And also, if you have a flight tomorrow night, try and bump that up a little bit. That would be my takeaway. And if you've got a flight on Wednesday morning, move it or don't plan on getting out. It's as simple as that, because I do think we're going to be talking about only a handful of flights that are getting in and out on Wednesday morning because the intensity of snowfall and the amount of snow that we're going to be getting there at the airport. Roads, I think Wednesday, if you have the flexibility to work from home, Wednesday, the perfect day for that. And we'll be looking at frankly, pretty terrible road conditions on the roads on Wednesday morning. I think we're talking about school closures, perhaps here on Wednesday morning, on Wednesday as well. I don't think, again, this looks to be a fairly high impact snowfall for most of the metro area. We'll have continued updates for you. I'll be back on at 9 News at noon and at 2 p.m. here on 9 News Plus. And then Chief Meteorologist Kathy Stevens in at 4 and 5 today. And then meteorologist Lauren Robinson's in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and have a great rest of your Monday.